Okay, this video is about how to do walking monster from the side, and then when you cross a line that's invisible, he's going to come right at you. So he's basically going to patrol the opening right there, back and forth until you move forward. And when you cross a line that's invisible, he will come towards you. So let me show you how I did that. You can see right there that he's moving back and forth. And what's happening here is that there's two images, and making them animated, of course, and he's actually bouncing on two objects that are invisible back and forth. Now, I've tried to do it with a timer, and the timer doesn't seem to work. The timer will work for a couple, maybe I don't know, 15 seconds, and then you'll start seeing him moving over toward the wall and going through the wall. So the timer didn't seem to work. So he's bouncing on two objects that are invisible. So once he hits an object, he's going to switch going the other direction. So now when I move forward here, he's going to come after me. There he goes, coming right after me. Alright, so let me show you how I did that. So the first thing you need to do is you need to go into your textures, and you want to bring in two images. See, two movable images here for the left, and then two for the right. So that's the left, and then you have him going to the right. Alright, that's the first step, is to bring in those two images for the textures. Then we go into, this is the room. You can see here, well, that I'm right here. When I cross this line here that's invisible, this is the monster. He's moving back and forth. He's hitting against this block, and then he's hitting against this block, and he keeps doing that until I cross this line. Once I cross this line that's invisible, he comes right after me. Okay, so let me go into the monster object. Now I have one for the right and one for the left. So for the monster right, you do a create, and then I did a move free, and then I did 90, which is going up, and the speed of 1. So with 3D space, we're dealing with 3D space here. We're dealing with the X, Y, and Z coordinates. So I tried to do this. Okay, he's going right. So I'm thinking, okay, he's going right. He's going to go from 0, which is right. Then he's going to bounce on the block, and then he's going to go to the left 180. Well, we're not dealing with X and Y, we're also dealing with Z. So in this situation, you have to use the Z axis, in this situation, I have to go 90, which is really going up. And so, but in the game, you're actually going left. Or right, I'm sorry. So 90 is going up, but in the 3D world, he's really going right. Then I did a var here, and you can't use this move fixed because this speeds it up. He goes way too quick using this move fixed. You got to use the move free. That's what I use there. And then use a var statement here in your control tab. Say image underscore speed, and then 0.1. This will slow down the animation, because in the animation of the sprint, he's actually going way too quick. See, he's going really, really too quick. And like I said before, to save space in your images, instead of making several of these images to make the animation go slower, you just have to use that var statement here, which will make it go really slow. So if you do 2, it'll go a little faster. So I kept it at 1. Alright, then you want to do a collision with the block. The block is this block right here, this block. So in the block, the bounce, that's what I called it. So make sure it's set to solid, and make sure you don't have it parented to anything. Do a create, then you bring over a move fixed and make sure to set it to middle, speed 0. And then you do a draw statement. This, you probably really don't need this, but this information right here was used for 3D objects I talked about in my previous video. So, because I kind of copied an image in this game right here for 3D objects and just duplicated it and changed the name. So I just left this draw in here. I'm not sure. You may not even need this information for it to work, but I just kept it in there. And this is like just talking about the backgrounds. It's a background of 29, which is, I think it's a wall color, but it doesn't really matter because you're not showing that wall. So I'm gonna delete that real quick. I want to see what happens. I'm gonna go back into it and see if that really mattered, if I need that in there, because I don't want you don't need it. I just want to see what's going to happen. It's taking some time on my computer here. Here it comes. Okay, so it didn't matter. So you don't need that draw in there. So it doesn't matter if that monster was going left or right. Once I cross that line, he's going to switch and go toward me. Alright, so in the bounce, you don't need that draw image. You just need, make sure it's set to solid, and then have this move fixed in here. Alright, I'm going to save that real quick. And then, alright, so then when he bounces on the bounce object, he's going to switch from going left to going right. So the right monster, once he hits that bounce object, he's going to switch and go left. Do a draw statement for the right monster, and you're saying texture equals sprint, get texture underscore monster underscore right. And make sure all this information I talked about before when dealing with how to do your monsters, but the difference is in this one, the monster that comes towards you, it was set to 3 here. Make sure with the right and left you set it to 1. This is talking about how far down he's on the ground. So if I set this to like 2 or 3, he's going to be higher up off the ground. So I set it to 1, so he's kind of close to the ground when you're walking. Because if you have it to 2, 3, or 4, or whatever, he's going to be like floating in the air. You don't want that. So this is setting the image to be more on the ground. If you set it to 0, he may go through the ground where you don't see some of his feet. So I just set it to 1. That's the only thing you have to worry about here. Everything else is the same as the image just goes towards you, and I'll show you that in a minute. Like I said, these x minus 8, x plus 8, y minus 8, y plus 8, all this talks about how it's basically stretching the image from left to right or up and down. And so we're not talking about that. If you change these numbers here for the texture, it's going to make multiple images, and you don't need that. Make sure you set that to 1, 1, because it's going to be just one single image. You don't want to have multiple images, so don't change that number. This 19, I can't remember. I think this talks about the height, how tall he's going to be. Leave that at 19. Just has to be 1, not 3, because the monster that goes towards you, it's set to 3. But in this situation, it needs to be set to 1 for the right and left monster. Okay, and make sure it's visible. Depth's -10, and you don't need a code for him to go towards you for the left and right monster. When you cross that line, then he switches to the monster goes towards you, and that code is needed for him to move towards you. And I've already talked about that, but I'll show you that real quick. And then the left monster is the same, but he goes a different direction. So instead of 90, he goes 270. So, like I said, in the 3D world, 270 he's going left. But in a two-dimensional world, 270 would be going down. So you have to think 3D here. So you have to use different directions. Because if I used a different number here, like a 0 or whatever, it would go toward me, and that's not what I want. I want him to go from left to right. I don't want him to go to me or away from me. So 270, he's going left. He's not going down. He's going left because we're dealing with 3D space. We're dealing with the Z-axis. Okay, so when he bounces on the block again, he's going to switch to going right, and he's going to continue doing this repeatedly until you cross that line. Whether he's going right or left, once you cross that line, he goes towards you. The draw event is the same thing. Make sure that's set to 1. Everything else remains the same except for this. You have to make sure it's set to text monster left, which is talking about these textures here that I added in here. Alright, and then once you cross that line, once my character crosses the line, whether you're the first player or the second player in the second room, then it's going to switch the monster right to monster hit 1, say yes, or if it's the monster left, if he's going left, then it's going to switch to monster hit 1, say yes. So whether he's going left or right, he's going to switch to monster hit 1. Same thing for the second player, which is in the second room, but we're dealing with the first player for the first room right now. The second player is, remember I talked about that in a previous video, that's for the player in the rain room where it rains. So right now we're talking about the object player for the first room and the dungeon room in there. So it's going to switch to the monster hit 1, and the monster hit 1 is the one that goes towards you, and here it is right here. Monster hit 1. And so the draw event is going to talk about texture underscore next monster, and see this number is 3 because it's needed for 3 because that's how far he is from the floor. So he's actually on the floor at 3. If you change that to 1, he'll go through it. So with left and right monster, it had to be set to 1 to look like he's on the floor. For the monster going towards you, it had to be set to 3. And I think it has something to do with the shadow, because when he moves towards you, there's a shadow. So that could be the reason why it's set to 3. So the one that goes towards you is this texture right here. This one right here, see? He's moving towards you. So this is the same monster I've talked about in previous videos where they're all coming towards you. So in this situation, we got a monster that's basically patrolling an area, and then once you cross the line, he switches to the old image, which I talked about before, where he's coming towards you, and that's the one that follows you. And even if you collect these weapons up here and shoot him, he won't die, because I don't have it set up for him getting killed right there. So once you cross this line, he switches to the monsters coming towards you, and that's when you can shoot him and kill him. So he basically stated that it's like, you know, you can only shoot so far. Like the bullet will only shoot so far, then, you know, it won't penetrate the guy because you're too far away from him. So that's how you could think of it. So that's why you can't kill him, because you're too far away from him. So once you cross the line, then you're more close range with the monster because he's coming towards you. Then you shoot him, then it'll show the blood. I mean, you could have it set up where you kill him from a distance if you want, but in this situation, I'm not doing that. Okay, so the monster that he's coming towards you, it's set differently. So this is using if point direction. This is talking about if you're close range with the monster, then he's going to come towards you. And I think in the monster up here, I don't have that in there. Yeah, see, I have it graded out. So I have this text graded out because I don't want the monster to follow me. Because if I have this information not graded out, he's going to come toward me, and he's going to be coming toward me in a side view manner, and you don't want that. You know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't look right. He's coming towards you in a side view manner, going left and right. That'll make sense. So once you cross a line, that's when he switches view, going towards you. So that's why I graded this out, because it's not needed. You don't want him to follow you until you cross a line. Then he switches, and then he starts following you. It makes sense because someone can't see you from a distance. He's going to keep controlling the area until you're spotted. Then he'll come towards you. So that's what you're doing here. So then you're able to fire at him using your weapons. And this is it. This is talking about if he gets hit by the barrel, he'll die. And like I said, I already talked about this. And then if you get hit by him, you lose points. See, none of this code right here is in with the left and right monster because you're too far away. So it's not needed. So I already talked about this. I'm not going to go into detail, but if he hits the player, then you'll do the image where it shows the face getting hit at the top, and shows the blood splatter on the screen. So I've already talked about all that stuff before. Alright, so that's pretty much it. So this is talking about, and then, okay, I think I didn't talk about the line. Hold on. So he crosses the line. Oh, I already talked about that. He switches. So whether the monster's going right or left, he's going to switch to monster hit 1. And the reason why it's monster hit 1 is because, like I said, I talked before, when you shoot him, he's going to go from, when you shoot him, he's going to switch from monster hit 1 to monster hit 2. You shoot him again, he goes to 3, then to 4, then he dies. That's what's happening here. So you have 4 hits, you got to kill him, then he dies completely. I mean, you could have it set up to where you do monster hit 3, then you hit him once, then he goes to 4, and then you hit him again, and he dies. So you could do it less hits, then he dies. So either way you want to do it. Alright, well, this will conclude this video. Thanks for watching.